Most customers don't say, I don't trust this brand. They just leave. They don't make a purchase, they don't leave a review, they don't make a comment, they don't send you a DM, they simply just leave. And it's never just one big mistake. Ultimately, it's a series of small things that happen across your website, across your Instagram, across your socials, across your product itself, the copy that you use, that make the brand feel like a new brand that doesn't have the credibility, doesn't have the track record. And what you have to understand is when customers feel like you don't have the credibility and you don't have the track record, that you haven't done this before, they are much more hesitant to give you their money because they don't have the certainty and the guarantee that they're going to get a return on that. So what is it that makes buyers hesitate to buy from your brand? What are the micro mistakes that you might be making today that you can immediately fix? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be discussing in today's episode. My name is Shadi. I am the co-founder of FittDesign, the world's first sportswear design agency. And we've literally worked with thousands of brands over the last 10 years to help them go from an idea to a physical best-selling product in under 30 days. So I've learned what it takes to make your brand look like it's been around the block, to build up that credibility, and to get customers coming back time and time again. Number one is that your content looks cool, or it looks visual, but it proves nothing. And with the proliferation of AI, it's getting easier and easier to create cool looking content that ultimately what ends up allowing you to stand out and build up that trust and that credibility is content that doesn't just look cinematic, doesn't just have these cool edits, doesn't look really well polished. It's not about creating moody shots at the gym. It's ultimately about building up that trust with your customer and showing your customer what the product looks like, how it fits, what it looks like in different lighting conditions, and ultimately what buyers want to see that they rarely get to see are a variety of different people in your clothes, building up social proof. So this can be on your Instagram. It can be on your website where different body types are wearing the products that show customers what they would look like in your actual product if they are this specific body type. Maybe they also want to see a movement fit of that specific product, how it performs in running, lunging, squatting, right? Things that are very, very practical and close to what they would be actually using that product for. Maybe they want to see the waistband, the stretch behavior up close. Maybe they want to have you create a video ahead of launch that you go through each and every single product and you run through it. You run through the model's weight, height, and actual measurements and how it fits on them. That all of it creates a sense of trust and a sense of closeness to you and the product. The activewear brands that do this really well ultimately show the product behaving and how it actually performs, not just posing for a static studio shot. So what I'd recommend is for every single product, create a proof set that showcases, one clip of your product in front and back on a variety of different body types. You may also want to do one clip that showcases the movement of how your product performs for its intended use case scenario. So if it's a legging, maybe for squatting. If it's a running short, maybe for lunging. And you want to add 3 different close-ups of different parts of the product when it comes to the fabric, the trims, the zippers, etc. And then lastly, you want to show one photo out in normal lighting. This can be, outdoors. It can be out in a neutral setting that would showcase the product in a less highly polished setting. Number 2 is that your website feels incomplete or as if it's hiding something. This can come across in having 1 or 2 different images for a specific product. You only have a front view and a side view and no back view. It seems like this is something that you wouldn't miss out, but believe me, I've seen so many different founders lose out on tremendous opportunities because they haven't dotted their I's and crossed their X's. So some silent trust killers that I've seen are, too few product images or images on a specific product page. You might have no back view. Maybe your sizing guide is inaccurate or incomplete. Maybe your shipping timelines or your shipping policy is unclear. Your shipping carrier policy is unclear. Maybe the return policies are buried or they're non-existent altogether. And there's no real world fit info. If there's a model there, what are the dimensions of the model? Who's the actual person wearing it? And how does that relate to the customer that's actually purchasing? And this is the part that the founder misses. Every time, and even if your product is great, the uncertainty about purchasing from your brand creates anxiety, creates risk, which ends up creating an obstacle for customers to purchase. So what you can do today is you can create this confidence block or fix this confidence block simply on your product page by showing a sentence of how it fits and who it's for. This can be through a sizing meter or some sort of fit meter, and at the same time giving information about the model that's wearing it. One sentence about what the fabric feels like and who or what situation it's for. One simple shipping promise about when they can expect delivery, what are the stipulations of delivery, and who the delivery carrier is. One simple return line about, free returns or returns under 30 days, or these are the situation for these returns. These are the stipulations that you must follow to get these returns. And then one lastly is the sizing anchor, which is what I mentioned, the model, size, height, and weight. Number 3 is that your product offering is confusing. Most people think that more is going to be better when it comes to fashion, but this can simply come in the form of having too many colorways that are competing with each other, too many different styles at launch that don't necessarily fit into the same niche or the same understanding. Some ideas regarding names and messaging about your products that conflict with each other. Some names are aggressive, some names are feminine, some names are luxurious, and strong activewear brands that perform well long-term are very focused early on. And I've done a separate video in the past that has gone through the idea that in order to win, you must decide on one thing and stick to that one decision every month, every quarter, and every year. And that's how you build depth in a category. When you come out the gate with too many different styles that are competing against each other, customers don't really know what you actually stand for. My recommendation is pick one core hero product and build a capsule around that collection that identifies what you create. And the easiest way to understand whether or not you fit this thesis is the one breath test. Can you actually explain in one breath what you make and who it's for? This is the easiest way for you to know. Next up is that your product details don't match the price. This can be simple as creating a premium looking brand and positioning yourself as the next Aloe or the next Lulu or the next Rhone, and end up not having the website, the infrastructure, the customer service, the actual presence to back that up. This can be things like flimsy labels and tags, or sometimes non-existing packaging. Sometimes it can be inconsistent sizing. It can be products that are created and curated in a way that doesn't really match the aesthetic or the vision of the niche that you're in. Or it can be something as simple as weird colors that don't necessarily match the specific product segment that you're in. Activewear customers are ultimately trained by the market. They've bought from brands that feel consistent and brands that feel inconsistent, and they know what they gravitate towards and what they don't. So when you're finishing, when your fabrics, when your colors are inconsistent, for them that feels like a risk, because in their minds they recall the horrible experiences that they've had from other customers or other brands in the past. So things that you can do today is pick a unified label placement and branding placement specific location. If you look at Lululemon, it tends to be on the back of the calf on the leggings. It tends to be on the bottom right hand corner or bottom left hand corner of the t-shirts. Pick consistent trims and finishes. If you're going to use 3M reflective for your logos, keep consistent with that. If you're going to use silicone, keep consistent with that. You want to have a consistent packaging feel that is in line with your product thesis or your brand thesis. If you're going after a premium segment, then you have to build high-end packaging that has soft touch, that's durable, perhaps reusable. If you're building a brand that is more on the sustainable side, making sure that you're using eco-friendly, sustainable, and biodegradable materials is going to be key. Having consistent fit across your different product categories is going to be key as well. You can't have a running short that fits a specific way and then you have a lifting short that completely fits in a different way, where you're a size medium on the running short but you're a size small on the lifting short. Next up is that if your product experience feels like a gamble. And this is the silent killer that really nobody talks about when it comes to new brands. Every single time that a customer takes a chance on your brand, they're taking a risk, and they might do this. But if what comes after the purchase is uncomfortable or is not clear, that anxiety is going to build up in their minds and may end up actually resulting in a loss of trust, or even worse, a charge back. So some trust killers that are usually present are no tracking updates. So you have received the order, but there's no immediate confirmation. There's no update on when the product is going to be shipped. There's no update on when it's been shipped. And if you are shipping with a carrier, that specific carrier is either low cost, so they don't provide tracking updates, or in general, you just haven't done a good job of providing the tracking link. Also, unclear fulfillment timeline. When I purchase, I want to know, when am I going to get my product? Studies have increasingly shown that customers are more willing to wait a longer amount of time when they know how long they're going to wait than waiting a shorter amount of time but not knowing how long that shorter amount of time is. It's not in the waiting that we are struggling. It's in the not knowing that we struggle. Not having an unboxing structure, which means what and how your product arrives. Does it arrive in a branded shipping bag, but then inside that shipping bag, there's no branded packaging, or vice versa? And lastly, what to do if the sizing is off. There's no clear returns. There's no clear way to, if they have an issue with the product, if there's a quality control issue, if there's a sizing issue, what can they do to make sure that that is rectified? A lot of brands that do and perform exceptionally well give you return labels right off the bat, because I understand that if they might have to take a small hit on this customer, they will retain the long-term trust of customers. And more brands are even doing and opting into strategies where it's a try now, buy later, where they'll ship you the product for free. And if you just don't return it, then you ultimately pay for it down the line. So you don't pay anything to receive the product, and it's just when you decide to keep the product is when you pay for it. Last but not least is that you don't look present after the initial purchase is made. This one is completely brutal because it's immediately when customers have made the purchase that the anxiety goes up. They are now asking themselves, have I made a mistake, or is this action justified? And it's your job to make sure that that anxiety is essentially satiated and is quelled simply by what you do after the purchase. So some trust killers in this space would be no immediate follow-up after purchase, low replies, no proper tracking updates or confirmation updates, and complete silence after you've delivered the initial product. So this can be something as, and what can help you as an activewear brand to continue to build that trust is make sure you create a simple 3-message cadence once a customer has actually purchased from you. Number 1 is day 0. Once they purchase, give them the actual confirmation and the timeline of when they can expect to receive the product. Once the product ships, give them the notification that it's shipped and the tracking information. Once they've received the product, ask them for their feedback. How did the sizing go? Make sure that you are present there to take in their information, whether it's good or bad. All of that will build up trust and will give you valuable data points on how to improve your customer service and your product down the line. So all in all, the silent trust killer is not one big thing. It's the many things that you are forgetting to do rather than doing that end up causing that anxiety with your customer. If you want to learn how to build a phenomenal end-to-end product experience that starts off with a great product that is designed to sell, you can check the link in the description to apply to work with us and to get a quote on what your product will cost to design, develop, and manufacture in under 12 hours. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up and keep letting us know what type of content you want to see in the future. And I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fit Design TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.